we settle down? Right, okay. So I've just got to day 2, Pauline, which is the big community celebration in Gumbi. So this was the Guli Wankulu, the Chewa tribe's big dance. So there are 2 tribes in Gumbi, the Chewa, and their language, Chichewa, is what's spoken as well as English amongst the educated. And all children, of course, learn English at school. And there are also the Ongoni as well, which we'll come back to in a minute. And the tribes intermarry. The chief, Edwin, is from the Ongoni tribe. So there was just amazing dancing. I hope you can see these figures here. There was music playing as well. Just incredible experience. The tall man, women dancing, and a little video of the tall man and this animal-like There you go. Just a little snippet. These are all videos that Chippy mainly took on his phone. Whoops, I'm just going to move on. Wait a minute. Right. So the next thing that happened is that I was made an honorary member of the Ngoni tribe. And there is a video capturing this incredible honor, privilege. And I'll just play that now. Right, so there you go. So you could see that, you can still see the chief with his tablet taking photos, and the figure to the front there is actually his father, who is a great dancer. And it was James coming in to tell me to join them to dance because I was very unsure of what to do. Incredible, overwhelming experience, and a tremendous honor. It really was. I've got obviously the beadwork and the club here, and I will always cherish them. I will. And I was then presented with a goat and a chicken. You can see in the photographs, goat there, and I'm holding the chicken, which was very docile, lovely and soft, actually. I have, of course, given these to the farm immediately. they were taken away. We've got a goat kraal at the farm and we're introducing chickens, so that was fine. But that's traditional when people join the tribe. So absolutely fantastic and gives me a tremendous increased sense of responsibility towards this community. So there's a little video here of James Gamani introducing me, and then he had the onerous job of interpreting my subsequent speech, sort of 2 or 3 sentences at a time, which was quite difficult because the majority of people there only spoke Chichewa. James did an absolutely brilliant job. I'd given a speech the previous day. I obviously always talked about the contribution of the Gumbi Education Fund, remembering John. There was a minute's silence for John Vidal during this celebration. Gave greetings from Jen, talked about permaculture, talked about our long-term commitment to the community, talked about some of the underlying values of permaculture, fair shares, looking after the earth, looking after people, and so on. And asked for unity and determination. So those were the sort of key themes. But I'll just...
maiko ngati ku Malawi kuno kwanosawa ngati ifeyo kumayama khulupeko nina kuti nyengo isinthe vuto ilili amene analibweretsa kwambiri ndi maiko olemera ngati wowa ndamaona ponena kuti yaya anthu atabweretsera mavuto ndiyeno mavuto onse omwe atathandize.
There you are. That's a little Chichewa there. And then there's another video, a short one, of women dancing, as they did brilliantly wherever we went, actually. One of them's got a baby on her back. They do everything with babies on their back. Love the little one dancing away there. Can you all still hear me all right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay, just checking. Because I don't think you can hear me when the computer sound, the video sound is playing, we think. And then once again, every group village headman, and there is one woman, asked for their photo to be taken with me individually. This is the group photo with me with all my regalia, and my hair by this stage is in a complete mess, I note, but never mind. So again, huge honour. The officers of being an elder or a headman or a chief are passed down the male line traditionally. So because I was asking about female chiefs, as you might imagine. I didn't manage to talk to this lady to find out what had happened. I assume that there were no men on the in the chief line. So, yeah. So that was a staggering day, one that will live with me forever, as you can imagine, and a great tribute to all the work we have done, not me, we have done together to support this community over the years. So part of day 1 and some of day 5 spent at the farm, and also very importantly taking delivery of the solar pump. So here's a few shots of the farm, which is looking really good, bearing in mind that this is the dry season. In Malawi, it rains November, December, January, February, March, hopefully. That more or less did happen this last year, and then it stops and it doesn't rain at all from April to November inclusive. So things generally looking pretty arid, actually, but we've got developed over the years quite good water supply at the farm, and there's been a small solar pump there for some time, so not looking too bad in the circumstances. And that's Martin there with a pawpaw, a large pawpaw, several fruit on that tree, and there's always bananas and a mix of crops growing elsewhere. These two are enjoying their lunch. And there's another couple of shots. So The edible car park is something we picked up from the Permaculture Paradise Institute, Lueo. So there aren't any cars that park at PCTC, but never mind. The grass strips for cars, and then you plant between them a whole range of veg and salad. And it is actually something we could introduce in Alton, I think, if we wanted to. I think it's a lovely idea. And this is a fairly recent goat kraal. So there are quite a number of animals at the farm now, and we're going to fence this area off. The reason for having animals is twofold. Firstly, the soils are incredibly impoverished. And although, as you'll see in a minute, they are making compost from vegetable waste, they need the addition of animal manure as well. And secondly, PCTC needs to become a self-sufficient social enterprise. It was registered as a social enterprise last year, needs to start generating income so that it's not reliant on our donations forever. And breeding and selling animals is one way of achieving that. So chickens, goats, there's also a fairly new, what I call the pig's palace, rather impressive set of pigsties as well. So that's just, so they're all queuing up for their lunch that's been cooked for them over there, the farmers. So we have a goal, key goal, absolutely vital goal of moving from just one rain-fed maize harvest a year to 2 or even more. And irrigation is the key to this. So hence the solar pumps project. And we have raised enough, 12,400 in total, due to some incredibly generous donations, including Patrick Busby running the Brighton Marathon. Thank you, Patrick, and raising over 5,000 from that. So during my time there, having done a lot of research into different types of solar pumps, 12 of these from China, predictably, were delivered and tested. So they've got quite large solar panels. They're much bigger than the pump we've had at PCTC previously. And as you can see from that photo, and I've got a video in a moment, they produce a lot of water actually. So they're looking good. And they're going, the plan is that each village will have one to share. The team met on Saturday to make decisions about which villages should receive the first 12. I'm awaiting the outcome of that discussion, which would have been a difficult one. So let's move on. There's a little video here of it in operation. So as you can see, producing really quite good amount of water.
Yeah, you show Patrick.
You hear that, Patrick?
Yes, I will. Yeah. Actually, I'll take one on my phone and then I.
Yeah. So James was saying there, make sure you tell Patrick about this. So we're really pleased with those. There were technical issues, learning how to operate them. They're quite sophisticated pieces of kit. So a lot of work was going on whilst I was there over a period of a few hours. But they were being delivered this week once the decisions have been taken about which village should have them. So that will be a breakthrough in terms of being able to harvest more than one crop and obviously other crops during the year as well. So on days 3 and 4, we visited villages and homestead farmers. Wherever we went, people came together for us because clearly impossible in 2 days, particularly with the roads actually, to visit all villages. So people came together and ran out of time to visit as many homestead farms as we would have wished. But this little video just gives you a sense of the greeting every time. They love singing and dancing, absolutely wonderful. And then there would be speeches, and then we would go off and see a few homestead farms. Right, so just a selection of photos from various homestead farmers. By and large, the best of them, as you would expect, but doing very well. This lady here, Maria, is an example of a homestead farmer that is in desperate need of water. We are about to organise a geological survey, actually, because after we've finished the fundraising for the solar water pumps, which will take us the rest of the year, I think. Next year's project will be to improve the water supply, and the geology varies enormously. Some of these farmers have access to what they call dimba, which is more marshy land. One or two of them have access to a river, so they'll be able to get the water out and irrigate their land from there. But others have none such, and there are very, very few water pumps in the villages. So this poor lady is having to hand water everything. But Mr. Yosafati here has got a huge seedling nursery. This is the sort of thing that's going on now in the best farms, which is very, very exciting. And he's also got a seed bank in this building here. So he's been developing this farm for some years. It's brilliant. It's an example to all the others. Few other pictures. This is a village compost heap. Now, I was thrilled to see this. Yeah. Villagers having their own compost heap. They've had intensive training from the team earlier this year on making compost, vegetable compost, and we hope to see lots more of these. So they put a stick in the middle, and if you pull the stick out, it's hot, showing that the compost is really working, which is fantastic. Very fine crop of young tomatoes here. One of the homestead farmers had quite a mature cassava field. Cassava takes about a year to grow. It's very slow, but it's drought tolerant and is a substitute for maize. So very pleased to see that. Other crops there. Lovely photograph. This guy's a leading farmer, Ignacio Magumbo, and he's got his hand on his wife's head because he really loves his wife. I was very touched by that. So really nice. And this is a second crop of maize by a neighbouring farmer who's got grown on a wetland with access to water. So water is life. Water is everything. As you can see, we were very excited to see this field of green in the dry season. So it shows if you've got water, you can do it. On the other hand, if you haven't, then this is what you have to do.
Yeah, right.
You have to go round and round and round and round with a watering can, filling it up from your shallow well. There's me taking a photo. Yeah, so
You think you're taking a photo?
you have to go round and round with a watering can, which you filled up from your shallow well, hopefully not too far away, but in some cases it's a long walk to carry the water. One of the best homesteads is Mrs. Morocco's, supported by her husband, and she's got a truly magnificent compost heap, very well constructed, as you can see, and again, very hot in the middle when you took the stick out. Mrs. Morocco has got a very fine crop or produce for honey. So as I mentioned earlier, we're trying to work towards financial self-sufficiency for PCTC. And Martin, the lead farmer, put up 15 hives last autumn hour time, sort of October, November, which he made himself. And 9 of them are now occupied by swarms of bees. They've arrived naturally. They haven't been placed there. They've arrived of their own accord, and shows there's enough nectar to support a lot of bees at PCTC. And just after I got back on the 18th of June, Martin reported on WhatsApp that he was thrilled to harvest the first honey. There's a tiny video here, and just him showing the amount of honey he's been able to harvest for the first time. So really pleased to see that. Yeah, so really pleased to see that. we've provided them with beekeepers protection suits, which they're very proud of. And moving on to the next slide, we gave Mrs. Morocco one of those. So all the farmers who were trained last year have been trained in beekeeping, and quite a number of them have put up hives now. So this is Mrs. Morocco with 3 bottles of honey, and we'll be buying that off her, and then branding it PCTC, and hoping to sell it into the supermarkets in Lilongwe in due course. And her husband has handmade this rather beautiful hive. It's a totally different design to ours, as you can see, but really fantastic work. So we're quite optimistic about the future of this little enterprise. Quite excited about it. So moving on again, because time passes, on behalf of the Gumbi Education Fund, I met the headmaster of St Martin's Community Day Secondary School. This is a school that takes a lot of the secondary school pupils that are funded by the Gumbi Education Fund. And the chief in his speech noted the very high level of literacy due to 20 years of support by the Gumbi Education Fund now, which is great. And I also made sure that wherever possible, I met the families. I see a very, very strong family structure in Malawi of PCTC team members. So met James's family and Chippy's family, and they were delighted that I made the effort to go out and see them in their homes. Lovely photographs again. And then we move on to 2.5 days, of which 1 day was travel, of PCTC team holiday, right, which was just fabulous. So bear in mind that the team don't get holidays, that we were taking them to, I was taking them to places that they would never ever in their life have the opportunity to see because they couldn't afford it. And they described these days as literally the best times of our lives. And they kept repeating this. So late in the afternoon on day 5, we were taken over to Doha, which is the neighbouring district. It wasn't that far away. And one of the few wealthy Malawians has set up a large hotel. You can see it in that picture there, in the heart of the village. So creating jobs for people, which is great. And he created a huge man-made lake. We had a boat trip for about an hour out on the lake, and food served and music was playing. And as you can see, this is a bunch of incredibly happy Malawians. Sam Martin was trained at the Permaculture Paradise Institute by us a few years ago and now works independently as a permaculturalist, and he was able to join us for this. So absolutely wonderful couple of hours. Malawians having fun. It's great. It was. And then the following morning, we set off on a very long road journey down to the south of Malawi in order to visit Mount Mulanje. But on the way, I'd asked to see the Chongoni rock art site, which Jen Vidal and I had spotted in the guidebook 2 years ago, but not had the opportunity to go. We didn't have much time. Everything was very rushed this week, so it didn't do full justice to this. There's 127 different sites. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The carvings, the drawings, I beg your pardon, are over 2,000 years old, and they link directly with the current tribal structure. Many of the sites were up high, and I couldn't cope with the climb, but the guys went up, so I stayed down below. But so these are photos I've taken. The best sites were up high. You can see a sort of lizard there, I hope. And the guys who went up actually had the best of the designs. You can see various animals, hopefully, over there. Dramatic granite rock scenery. Hardly known by anyone. Could be a major tourist attraction if the Malawian authorities got their act together. Quite amazing. I put this photo in because I love it. I turned round with my camera. I was in that cleft you could see, and these boys, you're followed by children wherever you go, were posing. And that's going to become an artwork eventually, that photo. It's great.
It's good.
And then in the evening, of day 6, we arrived in the Mount Mulanje Nature Reserve. So this is Malawi's special mountain. It's a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve because of the connection between people and landscape. Once again, it's huge, and we didn't get anywhere near the summit, which is over 3,000 meters. It's the largest mountain in Central Africa. This is James. So again, we split into 2 parties. The young uns went up, and I very kindly had my own guide, for which I was deeply grateful because I had to hold his hand most of the time. Did a lowland route down to the pools that you'll see in a minute. But this is James, sort of halfway up the mountain. Thrilled to bits. So we met up at what translates as the old person's pool. This was a source of much merriment, absolutely essential for me to visit it, therefore, as the old person. But it's actually the pool of the elders, is a better translation. And if you look at the water behind me there, or behind Chief Edwin there, that is 60 meters deep.
Wow.
And that's where the elders reside. Yeah, their spirits reside, and it's sacred. But happily, immediately adjacent to it is some shallow water. And the team, as you can see, had the time, a good couple of hours splashing about and thoroughly enjoying themselves there. It was a joy to watch them, actually. The chief did not go in the water. He stayed with me, but it was really nice few hours for them climbing up and me doing my walk through and sitting in this very special place, thinking about tribal society and all its beliefs and continuity and interconnectedness and so on. A couple more photos from that afternoon. There were a couple of locals selling sticks. Mount Mulanje has a very special cedar tree that's unique to the area. It's been almost logged to extinction, predictably, but there's a reintroduction project underway. I'm delighted to say in partnership with our forestry commission in this country, but there's enough cedar around for them to make walking sticks, and I have one of these, but I couldn't get it in my suitcase. So what they did was used rather like a soldering iron to get the carving in it and put people's names on it. So you went away with a personalised stick. So there's a little group photo there and a local person with their livestock. Yeah, so a lovely day. And then in the evening, on behalf of Jen and myself, I presented the team. That was the last thing we did together after a team meeting where we discussed plans for the future, with certificates of appreciation for outstanding services to the Gumbi community. These were received with great appreciation. And here are the photos of me giving the certificates to each team member, and a team photo at the end. Chief was particularly pleased to have his. There's a lovely photo of the chief in the middle there. So that was a very good way to end our week together before we set off at 4 a.m. the next morning for the very, very long journey back up to Lilongwe Airport. So the team are absolutely determined to achieve food every day, and I've come back with an even stronger sense of purpose than before. This is just a photo I love. One of the photos of the lead farmers from the first day, actually. We will continue with our work. So thank you, all of you, and many who aren't here, for your support. Big message, as I've repeated several times, I've come away with is the importance of water, self-evidently. And we are continuing to fundraise for the solar water pumps. What I'm doing is applying to as many trusts and foundations as I can. We've had 4 grants now from trusts and foundations altogether. A large training grant, which is being used this year, grant from Motorbike, and 2 grants for solar water pumps, one from Mary Suter Charitable Trust, and then the B1 Foundation will be raising, which is a subscription model, are fundraising for us in October. So we are making progress, and I continue to try and do several applications to trusts and foundations every week. The odds of success are somewhere between 1 in 25 and 1 in 100. So you just have to be very, very determined about it. So picture of the new solar pumps working, and a picture of a village pump, and we need lots and lots more of these if these guys are going to achieve their objective of being self-sufficient in food. So this is not a fundraising meeting, but obviously if you do want to donate, as ever, go on the Alton Climate Action Network website donate page, and there's a special Gumbi button. Or for the last 9 months or so, I am personally sending my money out by the Mukuru money transfer service. And that actually doubles your money for you. The exchange rate is more than twice the bank exchange rate. So Emma, who's unfortunately not been able to join us, held a fundraising event at Bentley School recently and raised £75 in cash. And she came round with that cash, and I've sent that money out, and it's worth £150. Yeah. So if any of you want to use that route, it's obviously a matter of great trust that I will send the money on your behalf, but I can produce receipts, etc. But obviously anything that comes in through the formal route from charitable trusts and foundations absolutely has to go via ACAN, as usual. And money goes from ACAN to the Gumbi Education Fund, and then Jen Vidal sends it out to the PCTC bank account. This is the system. So I will stop there. We've got about 10 minutes for reflections, questions. I hope you enjoyed it. It was an absolutely thrilling, as I say, overwhelming few days, which were just amazing. So I'll stop sharing the screen so I can see you all. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it is wonderful. There were hundreds of photos, hundreds. I've just sifted through to the best of my ability to get the ball out, but there are many, many more I could have used, you know, so hundreds of photos. They're very good with their smartphones, Chippy and James, as, of course, being young. They use them. Yeah. Any questions or comments, simply? Yeah. Francis.
It's fantastic, Jenny. Well done. Brilliant presentation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, I echo that, Jenny. Questions.
Right.
So these pumps are crucial. 12 have been supplied already, but they need another 10.
Yeah.
And that's about 9,000 per village. So in total,
9,000 altogether. Yeah.
9,000 altogether.
Together, yeah.
For the 10
that's
villages.
To get, yes, that's to get to 22. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But that would obviously be a great thing to do because they need it, but also because it will reduce any bad feeling over which pumps, which villages get the pumps.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. Absolutely. I don't know what criteria the team were discussing on Saturday afternoon in order to make the choice about which villages should have them, but we obviously keep reassuring them that the others will get them as soon as we possibly can, you know. So
can the water table stand more pumps?
That is a very good question. At the moment, it certainly can. We're actually quite fortunate in Gumbi that there is a lot of water quite near the surface. We know this from the shallow wells we've dug at the farm. It does vary from area to area. Some, as I say, have got access to wetlands, some haven't. But you noticed in brackets geological survey, and we are going to do that. So we're fine for the moment. But this is a huge problem with irrigation schemes across the world. Dave Tickner, who's an ACAN trustee who works for the World Wildlife Fund for Nature and is their key water specialist, has been emphasising this point. So we need to do a lot more rainwater capture, which is quite challenging because they don't have roofs that will take gutters, as you will have noticed. They have grass roofs on their houses. But rainwater capture is clearly part of the answer anyway during the rainy season, you know. We do a bit of that at PCTC, got a couple of roofs with gutters. But for now, it's fine.
And what's the birth rate like there? It might. I mean, I'm worried about you making them self-sufficient, and then the population just growing beyond their capability.
Again, a very, very good question. The population in Malawi, as I guess in most other African countries, has literally exploded over the last few decades. I mean, I've read accounts going back to the 50s and 60s of a population of 1 or 2 million. It's 22 now. But there is some evidence. I mean, this is because of the investment of the Gumbi Education Fund over 20 years, set up by John Vidal. This is a very literate population compared with the average rural population. So there's some evidence that family sizes are reducing, with time. So fingers crossed that continues. Yeah.
Jenny, can you hear me? It's Leslie.
Yeah. Yes, hello, Leslie. Can't
Hello.
see you. Yes, yeah.
Is the team planning any more training
Yes.
sessions
Yes.
for homestead farmers? So they're continuing to do that as well as...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
We were very fortunate, you've heard me tell this story, I think, of getting a grant of 5,000, a revenue grant of 5,000 late last year from the Margaret Hayman Charitable Trust. This is one of the wonderful stories of the last year for me. I submitted an application by email on the Wednesday, and this is a charity I've found that specialises in climate justice and environmental justice. Saturday morning, I had an email saying, we're giving you 5,000. I mean, just wonderful to find some like-minded people, So that grant has been used for outreach training. We've changed the model because we need to reach all these farmers, the 525, and focus on the cooperatives. So Chippy and Martin are going out to them doing short modules rather than a week long, which is very difficult for them to assimilate. So they've had intensive training in deep bed farming in order to create beds that retain water, and in compost making. And I know on Saturday they were planning further modules during the course of the year. So yeah, that will continue all year, and is well funded. We've got enough money for that, so that's good. Thank you. And I mean, one of my great concerns is that you've got to make this is behavior change, mindset change, behavior change. James and Chippy talk about this, of colossal magnitude, really. And it requires constant reinforcement, constant encouragement. They have failures, all the time, like we all do, They have a bad drought year as last year, and they lose heart. So we need to keep the training up and the outreach up and the support to them through constant visiting. So that's what Martin and Chippy and the other farmers will be doing. Really, really important to continue to do that. Yeah. Got lots of chats here. I have to look at them all. That's lovely. Right, I'll read those afterwards. Thank you. Yeah, so very important. Francis.
Sorry, question about the honey, Jenny. That was very interesting, that little bit on the honey.
Yeah.
But is it a new product for this area, or are they building on existing honey production?
No, it's a new product for the area. Yeah. Martin, the lead farmer, picked the idea up from his training at the Permaculture Paradise Institute. Those of you who've been involved with this initiative for some years will remember that we trained quite a number of farmers at Lueo Biswick's Permaculture Paradise Institute, some distance away, and he included beehives and in his training. So Martin remembered that and has been implementing it and training the farmers locally. Lueo's got quite a successful social enterprise. It's out on the Zambian border, some distance away, but it's an entirely new product for this area. And there seems to be a market for it in Lilongwe, which is the capital. A couple of hours drive on these atrocious roads. It would only be about 3/4 of an hour if the roads were all right, but we'll be able to negotiate with the supermarkets once we've got a decent enough supply. So as the farmers start to produce it, we'll buy it off them and we'll sell it at a slightly higher rate, a higher amount. So that's the plan. But they'll get a good it will help their self-sufficiency financially and PCT's self-sufficiency is the plan. Yeah.
So Jenny, do you have any small reservoirs for storing rainwater? How's it actually stored, or ponds or whatever?
Yeah, at the farm we have quite a large pond which actually has fish in it as well. And the fish are eaten from time to time and also provide food for animals as well, I believe. So that's quite a large pond. And there's a couple of different wells, and there's 2 big rainwater storage tanks at the farm. The kitchen, when it was built last year, has a proper roof laden with solar panels. I mean, I haven't mentioned much about it, but PCTC is a major solar energy centre with induction hobs for cooking, and people come and charge their phones there and so on. So it's got a lot of solar energy. And we were able to put a gutter on that, which is draining into the tank. And there's another one on another building as well. But if anyone could do this in the villages, but you know, the standard of housing makes it impossible, unfortunately. So need some creative thinking on that one, because rainwater capture is critical. Deep bed farming, where you dig big trenches down and the water soaks in, helps. And we've had some training in that from another charity called Teeny late last year. But it's only a partial solution. Yeah, so it's a problem. But at PCTC, they've got quite good stores of water. Yeah. Any other questions? You've asked some very important questions.
Jenny, James here.
Hello.
Just mentioned that I can't resist the temptation to try and make a all singing, all dancing video out of this. It'll be pretty amateurish, but it will be completely free of charge to Gumbi. So
fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that offer, which I accept, as you know well, James, with alacrity. James made a fantastic video some years ago now, didn't you, based on Lueo Biswick and the Permaculture Paradise Institute and so on, which is still on our website, actually, on the ACAN YouTube channel, I should say. So
this time we actually have video to include.
Well, so absolutely.
Yeah, so it's going to be something amazing.
And if I can get the recording of the permaculture song sung by the farmers as well, I'm sure we'll be able to include that, because it's wonderful harmony singing. Yeah. So I shall chivvy Martin along to make sure he does that. I'm in touch virtually every day on WhatsApp. Thank goodness for WhatsApp. Yeah. Back and forward, exchanging messages. So, and then we have Zooms, often with great difficulty because of the connection, but every few weeks or so to plan things. Yeah, good communication. And they are a fantastic team. They really are. It's a joy to work with them. Yeah. Any other questions? It's just about 5:30, I think. Yeah.
I think you should feed back to them, Jenny, that all the people who have listened to this and watched you today and seen their videos are really, really thrilled and impressed with what they're doing.
Yes, I will certainly do that.
Yes.
I will send a message this evening, Leslie.
Thank you.
In fact, what I ought to try and do, if I can work out how to do it, perhaps one of you could do it, is take a screenshot of us now, and then I could send that. Are any of you any good at doing that? Because I'm hopeless at this sort of stuff. As you can see, I even forgot to record this. Is there a way of... Actually, I ought to stop recording, shouldn't I? Pause.
Get rid of this.